Value refers to the lightness and darkness of a color. So in this case, the color would be gray. Of course, it's graphite, so we can consider that to be a gray color. So way over here in box 7, I've got a super light value. Box 6 shows a value that's just a little bit lighter than box 7. Box 5 is a little bit lighter than box 6, and so on. This value spectrum shows a continuous change from light to dark or from dark to light, where the transitional point between one value and another is more gradual and meaning ambiguous, where in the top spectrum, it's much more obvious. So this kind of concept here, where it's a gradual change from dark to light, is what's applied to the apple here. And why do artists use value gradations like this? Well, here's one reason: to make objects that otherwise appear flat look more three-dimensional. This circle appears flat because it doesn't have a change in value. This circle looks more 3D, like a sphere, because there's a change in value from dark to light as the circle progresses from the edge to the center. So the idea is that this system of a value transition from a slow change from dark to light is applied to this shape. And we can do the same with an image like this. A lot of images are left in this state where we still have a really strong sense of an outline. So instead of an outline, here's what we can do. I'm going to start on the line with my pencil, darken the line a little bit, but then move inwards towards the center of the shape. So I'm kind of thinking of this flower petal almost like a cylinder. I mean, flower petals are fairly flat, but if I treat it almost like a cylinder where it's dark on the edges and lighter down the center, I can start to imply that it has a little bit of a convex curvature to it. Another way to approach value would be to think like, okay, look at this petal is underneath this petal. And so all I'm going to do here is just put a shadow right there. And what that does is it eliminates the need for the outline of this petal. So when we draw with a treatment of subject matter, like this artist did, where the treatment of subject matter is realistic, we also want our use of value to follow a sense of realism so that the style of the artwork is consistent. So what I'm doing here is I'm disguising these outlines by adding shadows instead. So I'm basically starting on a line, but then working, basically creating a value that's right against the line. It's like saying that the value that I'm shading in needs to have the same value as the line, unless I lighten the line first with a pencil. Okay, but otherwise, in order for me to disguise the line, I actually need to make the value that I'm adding as dark as the line. And right now I'm just using one pencil, which means I'm controlling how dark the values are by controlling how hard I press on the pencil. Excuse me. And so you can do a lot with one pencil, but of course I could switch pencils. Like right now I'm using a 4B, and if I want to achieve a darker value, I could switch to a 6B, which is a softer graphite because it has more graphite in it, so it's more pure. And that is going to create a darker mark. Now what about up here on the dog's head? So same thing, I could start on the line and then work inwards, because actually the dog's head is a sphere, same as this. It has the same structure as this sphere. So shading on the line, but then as I move inward, I'm decreasing the pressure that I put on my pencil. Notice how I'm holding the pencil like this so that I can use the side of the graphite, which also means that I want to keep a nice sharp pencil, which I've kind of lost now. I should probably stop and sharpen this pencil, but just for the sake of not making this video too long, I'll just continue on. But if you use the side of the graphite, it enables you to lay down those nice soft values and really control the changes in value. So it's all about showing a change in value. If you want to model form, you have to show a change in value. Like we see over here, this circle does not have a change in value, therefore it appears flat, whereas this one does have a change in value. So it's not appearing as flat. So start on the outline that you already have and create a value, but then make it lighten as you push inside the shape. Because a lot of three-dimensional forms have that shape characteristic. Because really that's what those lines are that are drawn initially by artists. They are places where light is less. So like they're shadows, in other words. So now we just want to turn those lines into shadows. One thing that would help also for an artist is to have a reference photo. So like, you know, maybe you're not sure exactly where the shadows and the light values are supposed to be on a dog like this. And so if you just found a reference photo online, or maybe you could take a photo of an actual dog, or you have books or whatever, that can really help to be able to have something to reference, which is why a lot of artists traditionally work from models, you know, but nowadays we have things like the internet, which can be really handy. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to give a sense of like how I could start to disguise these outlines and also start to model some form at the same time. Use value gradations to make this imagery look a little bit more three-dimensional. And again, why would I want to do that? Well, to increase the visual complexity of my artwork, but also to maintain the same treatment of subject matter. Okay, so once again, this dog is drawn fairly realistically in terms of proportions and shapes. And so I would want my treatment of subject matter to be consistent. So I would want to add some realism. I mean, I'm not saying that I want this to be photorealistic, but I just want to add some changes in value to start to model a little bit of form, but also to give my artwork a nice mature and visually complex look. Okay, so try that out.